Yo, what's up? We're back. We're going to be doing another breakdown predictions video. This week it's for actually a good card, man. Moraes versus Sandhagen. A lot of good fights in between. And yeah, last week we had a lot of support, a lot of likes, a lot of comments. So keep that up, man. Hit the like button right now. Put a comment down below who you're betting on, what bets you're going to do. And I'll try to get back to everyone like usual. But we're going to get right into the card here with the first fight of the night. It's going to be a debuting guy here with Tagir Ulanbekov taking on Bruno Silva. And this is a fun fight. It's a flyweight fight. This is a division that, I actually like this division. I know that a lot of people don't really like it for some reason, but I'm kind of a fan of the division. But Tagir, he's another one of these guys coming out of Eagles MMA. He is another one of these guys that has a connection with Khabib and all that. And he's a well-rounded fighter. He's tall. He's long for the division. He has a really good active jab. And you'll throw some nice body kicks, high kicks. Good timing on his hooks, his straights. He definitely has pretty good forward pressure, and he controls distance well. His game plan usually in his fights is to use his reach to back guys up and then get him against the cage shooting, get takedowns. Because his defense on the feet could get a little bit better. He has some tall man's defense. He's a little bit hittable. He has 2 knockouts in his career, but he is pretty pinpoint sharp. He did drop Zalgal Zumagulov a couple of times, and he's never been finished in his career. He's tough. His one loss was to Zalgal Zumagulov. It was a majority decision, but I kind of felt like he won that fight. It was also 5 rounds, and he clearly won the first 3, not clearly won the first 3 rounds, but he clearly won if it was a 3-round fight, in my opinion. And Tagir is an awesome grappler, man. He, like I said, backs fighters to the cage, and he has really good level changes, good body locks, really good at circling to the back from standing. He's good at grinding fighters against the cage. On top, he's very aggressive, good passing ability. He's heavy. He will go to the mount. He'll take the back, really good front chokes. He has decent rear naked chokes, but really high-level back control, and pretty solid with his ground and pound. Stays active on top. 6 submission victories, good cardio. He's fought some high-level opposition. Definitely a solid addition to the division here. But he's going to be facing a guy, Bruno Silva, who's 0-2, kind of fighting for his UFC career here. And he did come into the UFC with a lot of hype, but kind of fizzled now. He's the former roommate of Henry Cejudo, trains with him all the time, and he's had a lot of tough matchups, and this is another one with this debut in Russian year, but he fought Khalid Taha, who was on steroids, and then, he fought David Dvorak, who's a really good fighter. He actually hurt David Dvorak, dropped him in the first round, but lost the decision there. And Bruno Silva is a really good kicker. His hands are kind of sloppy, but he does have a good jab, decent hooks. He holds his hands a little bit low, though, and can get tagged clean, can get countered. He kind of likes to leap in with overhand hooks. And if he lands, he definitely has power, but he can get countered and hurt himself. And he does throw a lot of kicks, though, and he's pretty fast. He has good movement, nice round kicks, front kicks. He landed a front kick to the face that rocked David Dvorak in their first round. And he'll throw some spinning kicks, some front leg side kicks. And if he could stay on the outside, use his kicks, he's a good striker. But in his fights with Dvorak and Taha, he struggled with the forward pressure. He got walked down, he got dropped. He kind of got it put on him a little bit in both fights. And he's a good athlete, though. He has 4 knockouts and good chin as well, but he has been knocked out 1 time in his career. He's also a black belt. He trained with Eric Arbalacine, who's one of the best wrestling coaches in MMA, and he's good at controlling against the fence. He has good body locks, good trips. He'll duck under, hit double legs. On top, he's aggressive, good control. He has a lot of rear naked choke victories. And he has pretty good cardio, but he can slow down a little bit in the 3rd round. I definitely give the cardio advantage to Tagir here. And looking at this fight, I think Tagir should comfortably win. He has to be careful in the first round of the power, the kicks of Bruno, but if he just keeps the range with the jabs, the kicks, he's going to be able to control the fight. And his grappling, his wrestling is elite, man, and I just see him getting takedowns. Unless Tagir gets tagged cold and, kind of caught cold and knocked out, he should take this win comfortably. I'm not sure he's going to finish Bruno, but I see a pretty clear decision win for Tagir, so Give me Tagir Ulanbekov via decision. And in this next fight, we got Tracy Cortez taking on Stephanie Egger. And Tracy, she's making her second start in the UFC. She won a pretty dominant decision over Vanessa Mello. And she has some decent wins on her record. She's defeated Erin Blanchfield, She's defeated Maria Agapova outside the UFC. So she's fought some good talent. She's tested herself. And she's definitely more of a grappler wrestler. She likes to, get you against the cage, take you down, grind on you, take your back, control. But, her striking is decent, and she's going to have a speed advantage here, I think. She uses a lot of lateral movement and then kind of will blitz in with combinations or the takedown, switches it up, and she has a good jab. She'll throw a good 1-2, good left hook, straight right hand. And she's good at, faking the duck under and then coming up with punches. She'll kind of become a little bit hittable, though, and she doesn't really have a lot of power, man. She doesn't really look like she likes getting hit either. In her fight with Vanessa Mello, she did get tagged a few times, but she is tough, man, and she's never been finished by strikes. And if she can get on top of you, she definitely is aggressive, ground and pound. She'll try to take your back at the crucifix position. She, is pretty good at getting the finishes on the ground. She'll attack Kimuras, and she has a good arm triangle. Her submission defense is a little bit questionable, but she is tough and she isn't someone that's going to submit quickly. Her one loss is a submission loss via guillotine, though, in her UFC or MMA debut. Her opponent, Stephanie Egger, she's 5-1. She's going to be making her UFC debut here. 3-fight win streak for Egger, and she's fought in some decent promotions, Invicta, Ryzen. She's fought girls like Mara Romero Barella, Reina Miura. And Egger, she kind of reminds me of a more athletic version of Cindy Dandois on the feet. She's kind of stiff, but she's big, she's long, and she comes forward pretty aggressively. She'll throw some straight punches, overhands, uses that to get inside. She throws some kicks, but her kicks are telegraphed, not very great kicks. And, she throws some low kicks, front kicks to the body. She does seem like she has some decent power, but her defense is really bad. She walks into strikes, and if she can't grapple in her fight, she usually loses. She did get busted up in her fight with Alexa Connors, dropped a decision there. But she's pretty durable. She showed toughness. She has 2 knockouts herself, both on the ground. And Egger, she's very big for the division, which I think is going to help her here. And she's also a black belt in judo. She gets in the clinch. She has good throws, good trips. She bullies girls to the mat, very strong. And against lower level girls, she can kind of overwhelm them on the ground. And good ground and pound. She has heavy top pressure, passes, good submissions. She likes to take them out, land hard shots, take the back, hit rear naked chokes. She did look pretty exhausted in the third round of her fight with King Reina and Ryzen, and was getting hit with some big shots. Egger's finished 4 of 5 wins in the first round. Her 2 fights that went past round 1 both went to decision, and she's 1-1 in those fights. So past the first round, she's a little bit questionable. But in this fight, I just feel like it's going to be a grappling fight. I don't think Tracy has the striking to exploit Stephanie Egger. Maybe if she's really grown in her striking, she's going to have a speed advantage, keep it on the feet, and outstrike her. But I think Egger is going to be able to eat the shots that Tracy throws. I don't think Tracy necessarily has big power. And I think that once Stephanie gets inside, they clinch up, they start grappling. I just think Egger is going to be a little bit stronger, going to be able to get that top position control and win the fight that way. So I'm actually going to go with Stephanie Egger to win a decision here. And it's plus 220. I disagree with that line completely. I feel like it should be a lot closer. So I'm going to go with Stephanie Egger here. And up next here, man, we got a really good fight. Giga Chikadze taking on Omar Moraes. And, man, 2 strikers going to go in there, probably throw down. But looking at this fight, I think both guys are pretty high level on the feet. Omar Moraes is a kicker. Giga's a kicker. Omar has those really nasty low calf kicks. Giga's more experienced with the kickboxing, obviously, has a lot of credentials there, and he is a little bit more wild, but is also, I believe, probably the more high-level striker overall. But I think Omar's a little bit faster, more explosive. He has good hand speed. He closes the distance well. He doesn't throw a lot in combination, though, but he does a good job of countering while moving backwards, which is a good skill to have. He has really fast kicks. He is going to go in there and go and throw down also. I mean, he showed that in his last fight. He's really tough. He's undefeated, has a lot of grit. And I feel like if he wants to get takedowns here, he may be able to do that as well. He's a black belt, and he probably is going to have a big advantage if the fight goes to the ground. So I would go with, strike, move him backwards a little bit, get him to, feel like he's going to be in some striking exchanges, shoot the level change, take him down, because Chikadze, I'm still not 100% sold on the guy. I mean, he is getting these victories, he's looking good, but I don't know. I feel like he's a good striker, but I feel like Omar's going to be able to mix it up, show the full game. Am I confident in the pick? Not really. I don't really have a great read on the fight, because if Omar keeps it on the feet and strikes with them, Giga could maybe win. But I'm going to trust Omar to go in there, fight to a game plan. He's at Hard Knocks 365, so I'm going to go with Omar Moraes here to win a decision, but not a super confident pick here. Up next we have another good fight. We got Tony Kelly taking on AlQaisi, and both these guys, they had good debuts, but they just came up a little bit short. They both had, I believe, split, or I think it was a unanimous decision for Tony, split decision for Ali, but both were close fights, and now Tony Kelly is going to be dropping down to 135, so going to be in his regular division. He's going to be looking big, looking good there probably in a little bit better shape with this full camp as well, and both guys are going to get to fight to their full capability. But Tony Kelly, good athlete, he's a dog in there, very fast, those nice combinations. He likes to enter range with these long jabs, long straights, and then inside he has really nice tight hooks, nice elbows. He likes to play the counter game a lot. He has really good pull counters. He's willing to exchange. He's accurate. He's fast. In this matchup, he's definitely going to have the speed advantage. And you'll throw some heavy low kicks. He has some decent kicks to the body, to the head. And he had a war with Kai Kamaka in his debut. Took a lot of damage, but dealt a lot of damage as well. He did get hurt to the body a couple times, but showed a lot of toughness and came back. And he has 2 knockouts in his career. He's never been finished. And his weakness is the grappling, but he's still pretty solid in that realm as well. In the clinch, he has some nice knees, big elbows. He can mix it up. He'll look to hit trips, level changes. He has taken a couple guys down and submitted them throughout his career, but he doesn't really have the best takedown defense. He was taken down pretty easily by Kai Kamaka with double legs against the cage, and he has a lot of faith in that guillotine, and that kind of cost him versus Kamaka. He pulled guard with the guillotine in the 3rd round and ended up on his back for a large portion of that round. But Kelly is active off his back. He'll throw elbows. He'll look for subs. His get-up game isn't bad, but needs to improve his wrestling a little bit to get to the next level, in my opinion. I will say that now, fighting 135 pounds for this fight, he's probably going to be a little bit better with that. He was taken down in his last 2 fights, but he fought at lightweight and at featherweight, so at 135 he's going to be big, probably tougher to take down, hold down. He's a dog, he's strong, he's a tough fighter overall, very durable, good cardio. And his opponent, AlQaisi, is kind of similar, man. He's a tough customer. He's a kind of a counter striker on the feet. Really only throws a couple attacks, but he's good with them. He likes to lead uppercut. He'll throw that really nice check left hook, good overhand right, really nice low calf kicks. And you'll throw those shots in combinations, the overhand right, left hook, good defense, high guard, decent distance control. And he likes to slip and rip with punches. He does sometimes float his chin a little bit, and he can be susceptible to some low kicks, some body kicks. And if you can kind of snipe him from the outside and move, he can struggle to get inside a little bit. And his striking is a means to an end a lot. He wants to get the fight to the ground. He does have 1 knockout, and it does look like he hits hard if he can connect, but strong grappler. He's excellent at getting body locks. He has good trips as well, and on top he doesn't really have the greatest top control, but he's dangerous and he's kind of aggressive. He'll look to get in dominant positions and finish the fight. He looks to really attack front chokes when guys try to stand up. Really good guillotine. And I've seen AlQaisi taken down himself, though. He kind of struggled with the takedowns of Erwin Rivera. And off his back, he will attack with arm bars. He's a pretty good submission grappler, and he has good cardio. I feel he's a pretty good fighter. 4 submissions in his career. He's been submitted 1 time. And this is going to be Tony Kelly's first fight outside the United States, so I do feel the location may be an advantage for AlQaisi. Ali AlQaisi, he's from Jordan. It's an Arab country, so he's going to have a much shorter flight. He's going to be more used to the culture, everything. And I just feel like Kelly may be able to just put more volume on Ali than him on the feet, though, and he throws longer combinations. I feel like Kelly's more athletic. He's a little bit faster. I think Kelly should try to work the kicks and stay on the outside. AlQaisi needs to work takedowns here. I just don't know if he's going to be able to submit or take down Kelly and control him. So this is a pass fight for me betting-wise, but the pick is going to be Tony Kelly via decision. And in this next fight, we got Impa Kasanganay returning, and he continued his winning ways in his UFC debut. Got in there with Maki Pitolo, got a fairly one-sided decision victory. Showed off his striking a little bit more, and he's undefeated. He's 8-0, solid prospect. And this will be Impa Kasanganay's third fight in 2 months, though, so he's fighting very frequently. And for his opponent, Buckley had a rude welcoming to the UFC's octagon. He got into the deep end right away against Kevin Holland and kind of drowned. He got knocked out pretty badly in the third round, returning just 2 months after that, so we have to monitor his chin a little bit. I will say Buckley has definitely fought the higher level competition of the two guys, and he holds some wins over a couple good fighters in Bellator and on the regional scene overall. Looking at this matchup, we have two young upstarts, fantastic athletes. Both are still, raw fighters. They have room to grow, and this is a good matchup to see who the better prospect is. But Buckley, forward pressure striker with power, similar to Impa Kasanganay, but Buckley likes to use overhands, wide hooks to get inside and let his hands go. And in the inside, he'll go body head with combinations. He definitely has power. He tries to slip and rip with shots. He'll leap in with multi-punch combinations, and he throws some nice kicks also, a lot of front kicks up the middle, a lot of round kicks. He'll throw some lead leg side kicks, and you'll even mix in like flying knees, spinning kicks. He's a really athletic guy, but doesn't use a lot of fakes, doesn't use a lot of feints, and when he enters range, he can be a little bit flat-footed. But he's explosive, he closes distance quickly. He did look a little bit hittable when he slowed down versus Kevin Holland. Holland kept stabbing him to the body with that front kick, landed straight punches down the pipe, and he dropped him hard with a straight shot in the first round, knocked him out in the third, and that was the second time that Buckley got knocked out with one punch. So I question his chin a little bit, but he has 7 knockouts. He's definitely dangerous. Impa Kasanganay, though, he's a guy that's a hard guy, man. He comes forward, he eats the damage, and he throws these big hooks. He attacks the body, has nice kicks, and really good forward pressure, and really good cardio. He wears on you. That's something that I think he's going to have an advantage here against Buckley. In the exchanges, he definitely has to be careful because Buckley is a guy that's explosive, hits hard, tries to pull counter you, and Impa can be a little bit raw, a little bit hittable in the exchanges, but I think he's the more durable of the two guys, and I think he's a little bit bigger. I think he's going to be the one that's going to be pressuring forward as the fight goes on, and he's going to be the better grappler. He's shown that he could take you down, control you against the fence, and Buckley, he isn't the best grappler. Vinicius de Jesus was able to take him down pretty easily with double legs in the center of the octagon. Buckley overextends on his punches, gives up his hips, and he is strong against the cage. He's much harder to take down there. He's also pretty hard to hold down, but he did lose to an elite wrestler in Logan Storley, got grinded out there. But he will hit some takedowns of his own. He has good timing, he catches kicks well. On top, he isn't all that threatening. He just kind of uses the takedowns more to change up the rhythm, get points. No submissions in his career, and like I said, his cardio is a little bit questionable, but he is 3-1 in decisions. Impa, I just think he's going to win this fight because of his durability, his forward pressure, his cardio, and his fight IQ. He's a guy with massive potential, man. He's clearly got a good shoulder on his head. He's very smart. He's asking to fight guys like Marvin Vettori, so he definitely has a lot of faith in his skill set. And I just see him being a little bit too much here for Buckley. Buckley's going to be explosive, dangerous early like always, but I see Impa wearing him down with the forward pressure, and I might even be able to see a finish for Impa Kasanganay, maybe a third round, second round TKO. So I'm going to go with Impa Kasanganay to get the finish here. Up next here, we got a heavyweight fight. We got Rodrigo Nascimento taking on Chris Daukaus. And Rodrigo Nascimento, he's going to be making his second appearance in the octagon. He's a Brazilian prospect. He's coming out of American Top Team, and he was impressive in his UFC debut. He was able to finish Dontel Mays, and Nascimento, he's finished all of his wins. He's never been to the third round in his whole career, and he's a well-rounded fighter. He's known more of as jiu-jitsu guy, but his striking is pretty good. He's super aggressive, comes forward, he's fast. He has nice low kicks, good jab, good left hook, really nasty body kicks. He'll explode forward with hard punching combinations. He's good at slipping and rippling. He'll throw these wide hooks that really give him a lot of range. He has some nice hard round kicks to the body. Really nasty high kick. His defense isn't the best on the feet, but it isn't bad. He's improving, and his forward pressure breaks a lot of guys. He's tough, and he has 2 knockouts in his career. Good jiu-jitsu guy. I'm not really sure if he's a black belt, but I would guess he's probably a black belt. He is good in the clinch, pretty good trips, heavy hips. He's good at pressuring you, forcing bad takedowns, reversing, ending up on top, and on top he keeps the position. He's slow, he's deliberate, stays heavy in side control and half guard. Good arm triangle. He'll look for Kimuras, likes to take the back, and on the back he has a really good rear naked choke. He'll look for arm bars. He has 6 submissions in his career, and he pressures hard. He pushes a hard pace, but never been to the third round. I haven't really seen him slow down in any fight though. His opponent, Chris Daukaus, was also successful in his UFC debut, got his 8th knockout of his career, and Daukaus is another fighter who isn't one to see the judges' scorecards. He's gotten a decision just one time in his career, and Daukaus is fast for a heavyweight as well. Good feints, pretty good movement, good jabs, good 1-2s. He'll throw a tricky high kick. He'll get fighters against the fence, flurry with punches, body head, good power. 8 of his 9 wins have come via knockout. And in Daukaus' fight with UFC veteran Zhu Yanwu, he did drop on Yanwu, hurt him multiple times, hit him with a really nice knee in the clinch, but got hurt in the second round, got taken out, and in exchanges, Daukaus can get a little bit wild, a little bit hittable. He's been finished by strikes in 2 of his 3 losses, and he's not an active grappler, but he is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I've seen him push fighters against the cage, look for trips. I've seen him drop fighters in the clinch with knees, take fighters down. And I'm not really sure about how he is on top or on bottom, really, with the submission game. He did get submitted by Sean Teed in 2015 when he took down Zhu Yanwu, and Yanwu was able to get back to his feet pretty quickly. But being a black belt, that is going to maybe help him a little bit in this matchup to survive or maybe work back up to his feet if he does get taken down here. And looking at the line, I mean, I'm a big fan of Rodrigo Nascimento. I think he's a good prospect. He's someone that could potentially be in the rankings in the future, but I think it's a crazy line, and I think it's a dog or pass situation here because Chris Daukaus, I mean, he's still dangerous in that first round. He can hit hard, he's fast, he has good striking, good boxing, and he's a black belt, so I don't think we've ever seen Nascimento face someone of this caliber, face a striker at this level. So it's a dangerous fight for Nascimento, but what's edging me towards Nascimento is the cardio factor. I think that his pressure and just maybe his ability to weather the storm in the first round, maybe not even weather the storm, but just pressure, eat the best shots of Daukaus, keep coming forward, and eventually maybe I think Daukaus will slow down and he can get a submission or get a TKO in the later rounds, but this is a fight that I would totally stay away from unless you want to bet Daukaus, because I think that line minus 290 is a little bit insane, but my pick is going to be Rodrigo Nascimento to win this fight inside the distance. In this next fight, we got Tom Breese taking on KB Bhullar. And Tom Breese is going to be looking for a different result this time out. He had a really lackluster fight in his debut, finished pretty quickly against Brendan Allen, didn't look good, and it's kind of hard to get a read on Tom Breese because he's a skilled guy, but it's hard to anticipate which guy shows up on the night. And his opponent, KB Bhullar, he's going to be making his debut here. He's 8-0, and he's from Canada, but he should also have that big support from India as well. We saw all the support that Arjun Bhullar got. And Bhullar, he's a big guy for middleweight. He's 6'4". He tries to stay loose on the feet. He's kind of low volume, though. Looks to counter and clinch. He does like the hand fight, kind of extends his arm to maintain distance and pop in some jabs, some straights. He has some nice low kicks. He will throw some hard front kicks, round kicks to the body. He landed a really nice low kick to high kick combination that knocked out one of his recent opponents. Good question mark kick. He'll try to walk fighters into knee spinning attacks. He can get a little bit wild, but he's kind of slow, low volume. He does fight from both stances, but a little bit flat-footed, hittable. He has 4 knockout wins in his career, but I've seen him hurt on the feet as well. Bhullar, he's a good grappler as well. He isn't a lead or anything, but he has good clinch control. He has good knees in the clinch, good elbows, good throws, good body locks. And on top, he'll look for front chokes. He has a north-south choke, a Darce choke on his record. He isn't super dangerous off his back, but his guard is hard to pass, and he is a little bit hard to take down. But, you know, I'm not really sold on KB Bhullar. I don't think he's the greatest fighter. Breese, I think, on the feet, obviously has really good boxing, really sharp hands. We've seen him knock guys out, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a leg locker. He's good at, getting some takedowns himself, but his takedown defense has been really questionable throughout his career. And in his last fight with Brendan Allen, he got taken down, pounded out really quickly. We've seen fights with him versus like Kita Nakamura that were much closer than they needed to be because of the takedown. But in this fight, I feel like he's way, way better on the feet. I think KB is too hittable. He holds his hands low. He's slow. And Tom Breese should get him out of there. And it's not like Bhullar's a great wrestler like Brendan Allen, so I don't think he's going to be able to just physically manhandle him, take him to the ground, and dominate him. And if he does, then Tom Breese may need to start thinking about packing it up, man. But I'm going to go with Tom Breese here. I think he should be able to get the victory, but it's hard to trust a guy like that, so you can never be super confident in the pick. But skills-wise, he's way better. I think he's better everywhere, and I got to go with Tom Breese. Man, with this next fight, this is a great fight. We got Youssef Zalal, and Youssef Zalal is continuing his torrent pace. He's fighting for the 4th time in 2020. He's already 3-0 in the UFC and looks very strong in all of his outings. He was supposed to fight Gavin Tucker, so that shows how much faith the UFC has in him. But with Tucker falling out, he's now facing the UFC newcomer here in Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria is another Georgian fighter. It seems like Georgian fighters are really making their mark in the UFC now. He's an 8-0 prospect. He has some decent wins on the regional scene as well. And he's largely ran through everyone. He's fought 8 guys. He's finished 7 of them in the first round. And he's finished all 8 of his wins within the first 2 rounds. So he's never been in the 3rd round. Super explosive, dangerous striker. Little wild, but he's clearly improving on the feet. He maintains distance well. He has a solid jab. Really nice too. Really good pull counter. Throws some nasty overhands, lead uppercuts. Really nice tight lead hooks to the body, to the head. Very wide with his hands though. And in his last fight on Brave, he did get dropped early on with a high kick, but recovered really quickly. Showed really good recoverability. Ended up closing the show with the absolutely vicious knockout of his own. So he landed one overhand that knocked his opponent out. That was Topuria's first knockout of his career. And Impa is definitely more of a grappler. Very strong grappler. Really nice level changes. Closes distance quickly. Uses his hands to disguise the level changes. Really good double legs. On top, he's an aggressive passer. He'll grapevine the legs to avoid the guard. Really good at sticking the back. And once he takes the back, he has really good control. Really good rear naked chokes. Good guillotine. Good arm bars from the back. He has some sweet front chokes. Super aggressive. 7 first-round submissions. His cardio is a question mark. He's never been past the midway point of the 2nd round. And we know Youssef Zalal can go. He can push a pace. And Youssef, more of a flowy striker on the feet. Moves in and out. Tries to time you. Really good distance control. Manages distance really well with his hands. Constantly switching stances. Really good lead hook. He has decent boxing. But his defense and boxing range is not that good. He wants to be on the outside throwing those kicks, round kicks, front kicks. He landed that spinning back kick to the head against Peter Baird in his last fight that almost finished him. And he also likes to mix it up, hit takedowns. And it looks like Zalal doesn't really have the biggest power. He can't really finish a lot of guys. But he does have really good front chokes himself. So on the ground, he's more of a finisher than he is on the feet. He has 5 submissions. Never been finished himself. And the cardio is going to be probably his biggest advantage in this fight, potentially. Who knows? Maybe Ilia has a good gas tank as well. But I'm really intrigued with this fight. If you've watched my channel, You know that I pick Zalal in every fight, even the fight where it was a huge underdog against Austin Lingo. And Youssef Zalal hasn't fought any wrestlers in his UFC career, though. And he got taken down a couple of times by Jordan Griffin, who isn't a great wrestler in my opinion. Topuria is going to be the first legit wrestler he's ever fought. Youssef is, a guy that backs himself up to the cage a little bit already. And Topuria is also dangerous with the striking, so he has to respect his striking, Youssef that is. And I just see Topuria backing him up to the fence, getting takedowns, getting control. And the battle will be in the scramble if Youssef can tire out Topuria, get back to his feet. But I think Topuria is going to dominate here, maybe get a finish, get a submission early, or even get a decision victory. But I'm liking what I see from Ilia Topuria. I think that he's a good fighter. I know I said I question his cardio a little bit, and I do, but that ability to recover, shows he definitely has good cardio. And I believe that he's going to just be able to go out here and get the win. So I'm going to go with Topuria here to get an upset and get a finish. And I'm going to show you got Tom Aspinall taking on Alan Baudot in a heavyweight fight. Tom Aspinall, he made quick work of his UFC debut opponent, Jay Collier. Knocked him out really quickly. And he had yet another finish in under a minute. I mean, he has a clock on his back, but in the cage, man, he has no time. All of his wins have come in the first round inside of a minute and 30 seconds. And the level of competition is very low. I mean, he did defeat Jay Collier, but we all saw Jay Collier looked in that fight. And Aspinall, he's very athletic for a heavyweight. Really good movement, fast hands, jab, 1-2, slips and rips, really good short hooks, good uppercuts. And, he just tries to pull counter you. Really nice low kicks, front kicks. He obviously has that one fight where he checked a kick and broke the guy's leg. And 7 of his 8 wins are by knockout. He has 1 submission. He's a black belt. And in his one loss, or a couple losses, though, he was heel hooked and struggled a little bit with the grappling a little bit. But Aspinall is a guy that I believe in this fight is going to have a huge advantage if it hits the mat. We saw Alan Baudet's last fight. It is a victory, but he did get rear naked choked by a striker in that fight, and it was... I'll get into it in a little bit, but Aspinall's other loss is the DQ, 12-6 elbow. He got submitted with the heel hook, so I just feel like on the feet, it's going to be a little bit interesting, but if he gets kitted to the ground, if he can have a game plan in here to wrestle and get the fight to the ground, I think he'll dominate, get a quick submission over Alan. But for Baudot, he's another heavyweight coming out of the MMA factory in France, so they got quite a few guys coming out of there now. He's 8-1 overall, but versus mostly low-level competition, and his one loss came at the hands of Daukaus Lungiambula, who's a UFC light heavyweight fighter, and Alan Baudot is a guy that fights at light heavyweight usually, so he is going to be fighting up a weight class for this fight, and that fight with Daukaus champion, that whole fight lasted 30 seconds, because Baudot, he's a very aggressive, athletic guy. He's a mover, and he has good punches, kicks. At range, he throws solid combinations, nice jab, 1-2, nice hooks, uppercuts. He'll throw a lot of kicks, front kicks, round kicks, good low kicks. And he'll even throw some really nice wild techniques, some spinning attacks, spinning elbows, jumping attacks, rolling thunders. He's dangerous. When he can go forward, keep the distance, work the range. But when fighters close the distance, if he can't catch him coming in, he's vulnerable to boxing. Forward pressure in boxing just really gives his style issues. And he's a fun guy to watch. He has 7 knockouts in his 8 wins, but he did go out stiff in his one loss to Daukaus and kind of like rocked him, kind of came in a little bit wild and then just got knocked out. But he's not a terrible grappler in the clinch. He has some nice knees, good trips, good throws, but very sloppy on the ground, doesn't have good jiu-jitsu at all. And if you can get this guy on his back, looks very low level. I mean, he got reversed multiple times in his last fight after taking top position. He got dominated on top, gave up the mount, gave up the back. Eventually got rear naked choked, but the fight got changed to a DQ victory for him because Stout got a tested positive for marijuana. So to me, that's a loss. But I mean, Baudot, he's finished just that one time in his career, I guess he did get finished by knockout as well, but that fight, it's a win on his record, so it kind of is tripping me out. I mean, he did get finished by rear naked choke as well, but that's a win on his record, and, his other finish, or he has another finish on his record that's like a ring out in a custom rules match that they say is a submission, but I don't know what that means. So, I mean, I'm not sure. His cardio isn't the greatest, and I mean, this is a good fight because both guys are strikers, but I just think Baudot's too wild, and when Aspinall closes that gap, lands some shots, he's going to hurt him, make him uncomfortable. If he wants to take him to the ground, he's going to be able to take him to the ground and submit him. But if Aspinall gets a little bit wild or doesn't respect Alon could knock him out too with a shot. So it's a weird fight. Both these guys have limited experience, but Tom Aspinall is better everywhere. I think he should get the win. Bigger guy. So I'm going to go with Tom Aspinall here to get a finish in the first round again. Up next, man, this fight could be real wild. We got Dricus du Plessis. He's entering here a slight favorite in his debut. He's a South African prospect, competed in EFC, KSW, former KSW and EFC champion, actually. And he's a very entertaining fighter. He's never been a decision in 16 fights. But I will say, I mean, he does look like he may have been on some supplements outside the UFC. So I'm a little bit interested to see what he looks like with USADA, everything like that. And his style is a little bit wild. So I don't think he's going to necessarily come into the UFC and take it by storm or anything. On the feet, he's a little bit stiff, but long, aggressive, athletic. Throws really nice low kicks. He's very active with the kicks. Really heavy round kicks, front kicks to the body. And he comes forward with good straight punch blitzes, good short hooks on the inside. And in the pocket, he's dangerous. He has a really nice counter left hook. Really fast, explosive. And he can turn your lights out with one shot. But his defense isn't good. He shells up, doesn't move his feet. He'll eat shots, doesn't really have the greatest chin. And du Plessis is very tough. When he's hurt, he's still dangerous. He'll come back and try to finish you. And he has 5 knockouts in his career. Very physically strong, imposing guy. At 185 pounds, he isn't as big. But when he fights at 170, he's a really big guy. He has a really good clinch game. He has nice trips, good throws. And he's good at taking the back from standing. He'll hit some big suplexes, slams. He'll jump on the back. Really good control from that position. Really good rear naked chokes. If you look at his record, he has a ton of wins via rear naked. He can be taken down, and if opponents time his kicks, he has, some average to below average takedown defense, but he has good get-ups, and even if he does get taken down, he'll attack off his back. He has a good high guard. He'll go mission control, throw elbows. He has a really nasty guillotine. You'll catch in scrambles or when fighters shoot in on him. And he doesn't shoot a lot himself. He likes to strike and only shoots when he gets hurt, really. He likes to make fighters shoot in on him and catch that guillotine or use it to get top position. And he has 9 submissions. He's been submitted 1 time. He definitely has good cardio. He pushes a high pace. But his opponent, Markus Perez, he's obviously struggled to find consistency in the UFC. 2-3, trading wins and losses. But he's a fun, flashy guy. He throws a lot of kicks. That left kick, man, is nasty to the body, to the legs, to the head. And, he doesn't really have much besides that, but he can get wild, and he has some power in his hands. He's durable. He comes forward. And when he gets wild, he could force you into exchanges, throw a lot of crazy shots, good elbows, good knees, and kind of can goad you into a war because he's not really the most skilled guy. But he throws a lot of spinning attacks, and if he lands a shot, he can knock you out. He's a wild guy. He has a good chin, and he's one of these grapplers who can hit good submissions. He has good front chokes. He has hit an arm triangle off his back against Ian Heinisch, and this is going to be an interesting fight because Dricus du Plessis, I'm not super sold on the guy. Markus Perez has that left kick, and he turns it up. I can maybe see him being able to get du Plessis out of there. The thing is, his hands aren't the best. He's sloppy, he slows down, and he can be backed up. He's hittable in exchanges. I don't know if he has the same firepower that du Plessis has. Du Plessis definitely has some vulnerabilities, but man, this is a tough fight for me to call. Maluko, he's super tough. He's never been finished. I'm going to go with Dricus du Plessis to get a 3rd round TKO or submission, but this fight, in my opinion, that could go either way. I'm not really sold on Dricus. I don't know what he's going to look like in the UFC, but gets a guy like Maluko, I'm going to pick him here. I'm going to say he gets the win and gets another finish. And in this next one, we got Ben Rothwell taking on Marcin Tybura. And Ben Rothwell is making his return. He had another successful outing against Ovince St. Preux. He is 38 years old, but he's still hanging around. He's riding a 2-fight win streak. And his opponent, Marcin Tybura, he's been looking good lately. He took a step down from fighting contenders, and he was able to take out a couple lower tier guys. But he's looked good. He hopefully gained some confidence, and he returned to his heavy grappling style. This is a huge fight for Tybura if he wants to get back in that top 10. Ben Rothwell, he may be fading a little bit, but the dude is always going to be tough to fight. The guy is huge. He's super tough. He's durable. Great forward pressure. Good cardio. Constantly pressuring forward. He has a really good power. He has big knockouts. He's just awkward too. He has super squared stance. Those weird looping and off timing punches. But if he lands, he's got a good chance of putting you out cold. And I think this is actually a pretty good matchup for Rothwell on paper. Tybura is a fighter who struggles with forward pressure, but with Rothwell slowing down, Tybura does have a couple paths to victory here. Rothwell has always struggled with walking into punches, trying to enter range, and his durability is waning a little bit. I mean, we saw Ovince St. Preux drop him a couple times, and if Tybura could stick him with the straight, land a high kick, or land an angle, he's going to have some success. Rothwell rarely throws strikes in the center of the octagon. He's always waits to back you up and explode when you're against the cage. Tybura is going to need to strike, move, try to time takedowns, but Tybura isn't the best mover, and he can back up and just shell up at times. And against Ben Rothwell, that's a recipe for disaster. Tybura's most dangerous weapon is that high kick on the feet, and I don't know if he's going to be able to land a high kick on Rothwell, but Rothwell has struggled with single leg takedown defense throughout his career, and he's good at getting back to his feet. He gets back to the fence, wall walks. He has that go-go choke that he obviously caught a couple guys with. Obviously, Josh Barnett, the most high-level guy he caught with that. Tybura, he's a control guy. He's a black belt. He will look for submissions after he kind of gets you tired. And he has struggled with cardio throughout his career, but it looks like he's improved with that recently. But I will say, I mean, the last two guys he fought a 205er and he fought Sergey Spivak, who are very small guys for heavyweight. He was able to control him against the cage, control him on the ground, use his size, get the win. In this fight with Ben Rothwell, I'm not sure that he's going to be able to control him or take him down, and I don't trust Marcin on the feet to go 3 rounds with Rothwell, man. I think that forward pressure breaks pipes. I think that Rothwell's probably going to get this one done inside the distance. He has better cardio, I think, and I just think that he's going to land a shot, put Marcin down, and get the win here. So I'm actually going to go with Ben Rothwell to get a finish here. And up next here in the co-main event, we got Edson Barboza taking on Makwan and Amirkhani. Good fight, man. I mean, good matchmaking here. We got a striker versus grappler matchup. Edson Barboza in the UFC debut at 145, he looked pretty good, man. I mean, dropped that decision to Danige, but a lot of us know, between you and me, you know, a lot of people know that he won that fight. And when you look at Makwan and Amirkhani, he's been able to blow a lot of guys out of the water, get these quick first-round finishes over these lower-level guys. And he did it again over Danny Henry, but whenever he's gotten this jump up, hasn't been able to get the win. So it's going to be another big opportunity for Makwan and Amirkhani to get a high-level victory, break into that top 15. But Edson, he's not going to be looking to lose 2 in a row here at featherweight. It's a big, big sacrifice to get down to that weight, so I'm sure he's going to be trying everything he can to get the win in this training camp, putting out everything in the practices and really coming in here in fantastic shape. And looking at the matchup, like you said, pure striker grappler matchup. I mean, if Makwan stays on the feet with Edson for too long, he's going to be dead, man. I mean, those kicks, those knees, the boxing, just the speed, everything is just on a much different level. The power, and Makwan's going to be in trouble if he tries to strike with Edson. If he tries to clinch up with Edson, I think Edson's going to show that strength and really bully him in the clinch with the elbows, with the knees. Edson was hitting takedowns in his last fight versus Dan Ige and pounding him on top. So at 145, I think it's going to be much harder to bully this guy. He's always had good takedown defense, man. I think it's a misconception that Edson's a bad grappler. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. His takedown defense is pretty strong. And Makwan Amirkhani, he's a guy that's a submission guy. He's not a control guy. Or I guess he has decent control, but he's not someone that's going to take you down, pound you out, control you against the fence, grind on you, in my opinion. He goes in there, goes for the quick submissions, and if he can't get you out in the first round, the first 2 rounds, he tends to slow down like he did against Shane Burgos. If you look at his record, 11 of his 12 finishes are in the first round. he's only 4-2 in decisions, and one of those fights was only a 2-round fight. And the other fight that went to the third round, when he fought Shane Burgos, he was finished in the third round. So he doesn't really have a lot of good track record of fighting in the later rounds. And for me to expect him to just go out here and just bulldoze and submit Edson Barboza, I just don't see that, man, because Edson, he's only been submitted by 2 guys in his entire career, Tony Ferguson and Donald Cerrone. And those guys didn't just take him down and submit him. Those guys beat him up on the feet really badly and caught him in submissions after hurting him on the feet. So unless you think Makwan is going to stun Edson and then catch him in a submission, I don't really see him getting a quick finish, getting a submission here. If he can't get the takedown, I think he's toast. And if you try to shoot the same takedown or same entry on Edson, he's going to throw a flying knee and he's going to throw a spinning heel kick and he's going to knock you out, man. I mean, he's fought a lot bigger, better grapplers. I think this is a good matchup for Edson to get back on track, get a finish, look good. I think that maybe early on Makwan will stick to him, be a little bit controlling, but he's not going to get Edson out of there. I think Edson is going to turn it up and get a finish, man. So I got Edson Barboza returning to his winning ways, getting a knockout, and breaking that 3-fight losing streak. Man, up next we got the main event. I was going back and forth on this fight. I mean, originally when I first saw the matchup, I was thinking, okay, I mean, I'm going to probably pick Marlon Moraes. And then after kind of looking at it, watching the tape, I'm leaning more towards Cory Sandhagen now. And Cory Sandhagen, he did have that missed up against Aljamain Sterling. Got submitted really quickly in the first round, but didn't really set him back very much. I mean, he's fighting Marlon Moraes, so if he wins this fight, he's right back in the mix. And Marlon Moraes, I mean, he did get the win in his last fight. A lot of people forget that. He got a decision victory over the legend Jose Aldo, but unfortunately for him, it seems like everyone feels like Jose Aldo won that fight. The UFC thought he won the fight. Most of the fans thought he won the fight. So Jose Aldo got the title shot, even though he lost to Marlon Moraes, and now Marlon Moraes is getting to fight Cory Sandhagen, the guy that lost to Aljamain Sterling in a quasi number 1 contenders fight. So a little bit weird, but I also think that has to do with his recent loss, Marlon Moraes, that is to Henry Cejudo, the former champion as well. Now that Henry's out of the picture, I mean, Marlon's maybe a little bit more motivated because he's right back in there. If he can get a win, get a quick knockout, he's never fought Petr Yan before, and they already matched them up in previously 2 fights scheduled. So that's a fight that they've already booked before, so he may be a little bit more motivated to come in here and get the win. But we all know the deal in this fight. I mean, it's probably going to be a striking fight. I do feel like Marlon is the better grappler, and he has an underrated wrestling. He has a pretty good double leg shot, and he has pretty good jiu-jitsu. I mean, off his back, he has a really good armbar. He's fast, good guillotine as well, and he can hurt you and finish you with submissions. So that's something that Cory has to be looking for. And obviously in that first round, Marlon is a demon, man. Amazing kicks, amazing distance control, crazy speed, really crazy head kicks, low kicks, real good counters, that uppercut counter that he has, the straight punches, super dynamic, fast guy. He could finish you, take you out in that first round easily. Some of the shots he was landing on Henry Cejudo, even in the second round at the bell, he rocked him, and he has some big power, man. Henry has a chin. He was landing some head kicks on Henry. And even in his fight with Jose Aldo, I mean, he almost knocked him out in the first round with the head kick, but you see that forward pressure definitely wears on Marlon Moraes. He's a fast twitch guy, throws everything full power, very explosive. And in that third round, he slows down. Henry Cejudo was able to start putting it on him, finished him. Jose Aldo started putting it on him in that third round as well, walking him down, really lowers the output for Marlon Moraes. And this is a 5-round fight. And the one thing that Cory Sandhagen has, he's very good at, is forward pressure, but he stays at his own range, good distance control with the forward pressure, and amazing cardio. He doesn't slow down. He trains at altitude. And if he doesn't get finished in these first couple rounds, I really think he's just going to start to pull away, chip away at Marlon. Marlon's going to get tired because Cory's excellent, man, attacking the body, attacking the head, attacking the legs, just making you miss, making you pay with counters, keeping you thinking because he's always switching stances. He's like setting traps for you. He's moving, he's feinting. So I believe that he overwhelms you. He makes you think about a lot. Really fast, really elite striker, man. I think if you keep it on the feet with this guy, you're going to have a lot of issues. Obviously, his grappling is a little bit questionable. I mean, we saw Aljamain Sterling take him down, exploit that right away. We saw Rafael Sunsao take him down a few times. And Cory is a little bit hittable at times. I mean, we saw John Lineker land some decent shots. We saw Yuri Alcantara blitz him early, kind of get him overwhelmed, hit a takedown, almost get a submission on him. So early in the fight, obviously Marlon's going to have a big opportunity to come in here, land that high kick, land that uppercut, land that straight down the middle, chop away at his legs. And I will say that does get me a little worried because John Lineker did land a couple of really hard low calf kicks on Cory Sandhagen, and obviously Lineker isn't a guy like Marlon Moraes who throws kicks and is a really heavy elite kicker. So if Lineker is landing those heavy low kicks, maybe Marlon can land a few, accumulate them, slow down that movement of Cory Sandhagen, force him to fight in the pocket, give him more opportunities to land that kill shot. But I think as the fight goes on, Cory's going to start to walk him down, overwhelm him, land the much higher volume. When you look at it, I mean, Cory Sandhagen lands almost double. He lands 6.95 to 3.53 significant strikes per minute. And I just don't know if Marlon is going to be able to get him out of there in the first round. Cory's a really tough, durable guy. He is a guy that's mentally strong as well, and is going to be wanting to come back and get a win here in this fight. I mean, I'm going to go with Cory Sandhagen here because I just feel like he's going to tire him out, get a 4th, 5th round TKO stoppage. Marlon, I mean, like I said, maybe he'll mix it up, use the grappling, because I do think his takedowns are pretty good, but he averages less than half a takedown per 15 minutes. He isn't a guy that's a grappler, and if he maybe comes in here and grapples and can't get a finished submission early, he's really going to gas out. So I feel like maybe he's going to try to be a little bit more economical here, having gotten a little tired in his last 2 fights. And I think that Cory's going to come forward, get ahead on the numbers, and I think Marlon might get a little bit tired before he starts getting going, hopefully. And if Marlon can get him knocked out in the first round, then that's going to be his path to victory. But I'm going to go with Cory Sandhagen here. I think he's going to get it done, and I actually think he's going to get a TKO in the later rounds, late 3rd, 4th, 5th round. So give me Cory Sandhagen here to get the win. For the parlay of the week this week, it's going to be Ben Rothwell and Tagir Ulanbekov. For my most confident pick on the card, I'm going to say, I'll say Tom Aspinall is my most confident pick. A couple underdog plays that I am looking at. Obviously, Stephanie Egger and Ilia Topuria. I've actually already played Stephanie Egger. I got her at plus 220. She's like minus 190 or plus 190 now, excuse me. I'm going to wait a little bit on Topuria. Hopefully some more money comes in on Youssef Zalal. I know he's a popular guy at the moment. And Topuria is sitting around like a plus 160. Another dog, I guess I could say, or a couple dogs that I could say are live, are Markus Perez plus 135. I believe Giga Chikadze at plus 125 is a live underdog. And another one that I think is a live underdog is Chris Daukaus at plus 225. So those are a few other guys that I think potentially if you want to just look for a dog to play, you could play them. But there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Like I said in the beginning of the video, make sure to drop a like, drop a comment below, and I'll talk to you guys later.